think of the first scene out of the movie of my life? The first scene of the movie of my life is in a hotel room in Midland, Texas. I'm 3.5 years old, and I've been in the hotel room almost 72 hours because my mom has abandoned me and run off with a truck driver because she doesn't want to raise a kid. The movie starts with a maid that hears me finally screaming and opens the door because the bill wasn't paid, and I go through a series of foster homes till my grandmother says, "Calf rope, I'll raise the kid." Her husband of years left her because he thought he was getting ready for retirement, didn't want to raise some asthmatic 3.5-year-old with a red bottom. We had everything taken away from us. We were as poor as dirt. That's where I started, but I got to tell you, I had a pretty happy childhood, and she raised me with a lot of very interesting beliefs. Right after college, I played in a Rastafarian reggae band, okay? I had to accept what I did. I was the second keyboardist who did not sing. Later in life, I eventually emerged as the lead singer of a band. That was a different role. And I've learned in any project, you need to know who's the drummer and who's the lead singer and who's playing bass, because when people accept their roles, they can learn how to play together as a band, and I've never forgotten that. You also get really thick-skinned. I mean, when you're in a band, you are told that your music is dreadful by a lot of people, or there's no future by a lot of people, and you have to just learn to get over that. And I got to tell you, in the business I am today as an author, with reviews on Amazon.com, or as a speaker on the lecture circuit where somebody fills a survey out every day of my life, you have to learn how to have thick skin. So my grandmother, who by the way I call Mom and have for a long time, she was a huge influence. Came home from school in the 3rd grade. I skipped the 2nd grade, so I was in the 3rd grade, and the first thing that happens when you skip a grade is everybody beats you up at school. And so I started to come home sick from school, like make up that I was sick because I didn't want to get beat up or roughed up by the boys. And Mom went back there and said, "You know what you need to do? You need to learn how to like those kids." She goes, "That's going to solve all your problems. You need to develop an outlook that you like those boys. That's your problem." I looked at her, and I said, "These guys are bullies, Mom. Why in the world would I like them?" And I'll never forget what she told me. She says, "You like people, not because of who they are. You like people because of who you are. Don't ever forget it." Howdy, howdy. Well, thanks a lot. It's nice to meet you all. Hello. Good interactive group. Every time I give a talk, there is this thing I say to myself backstage. It goes like this: the only reason to give a speech is to change the world. I truly believe that every time I come out and talk to folks like yourself, I'm going to take some of your time. I want to make a difference in your life. And I believe this mantra because, in fact, my world was significantly changed about 10 years ago, the tender age of about 35, in a lunch meeting with Stanley Marcus Jr., the late, great chairman of Neiman Marcus. At the time, I was a young, budding business person at a company that was about to have an initial public offering. I had this wonderful chance to sit down over lunch and compare leadership notes with Mr. Marcus, and I learned something valuable that day. I was talking to him about how as a business we had made everything so physically attractive. What a beautiful place to work. We even had a Starbucks-type facility inside the company to serve coffee, lattes, and cappuccinos to the employees. I explained to them that as a leader, I was trying to make myself both intellectually and financially attractive to do business with, and I was also trying to improve my knowledge, and I thought I had it nailed. And he had this bemused smile on his face towards the end of our lunch, the kind Yoda would have if he were sitting in that chair. And I was getting up to walk away from him, and he says, "Son, hold on a second. Let me give you a good piece of advice." He says, above all, don't forget to make yourself emotionally attractive. He says, 5 decades in business, 4 decades parent, I've learned what's important in life is to make yourself emotionally attractive. He said, if you do, very good things are going to happen in your life.